What's good, y'all? It's your humble Rōnin here with a special Lounge Rōnin Live. And on this episode, we're going to be discussing the showrunner for X-Men 97, Beau DeMayo, is going off on the MCU. So we're going to be talking about Beau DeMayo and his fallout with Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Let's get into some of his tweets that were screenshotted. All right, so here we go here. And this is from the MCU Direct, and it says, fired X-Men 97 showrunner Beau DeMayo has alleged that Marvel Studios chief Kevin Feige resented the show because fans were using it as a referendum for how the MCU is failing. And he quotes tweet this by stating, "Yep, I was told this on the phone after episode 5 premiered. I asked the exec if Kevin was happy, because stupidly, I wanted to help the studio out. Their response was a long pause. Then I was told they'd be happier if fans and audiences weren't using it as a litmus test for the failures of the MCU shows and movies." Now, I have seen like 3 or 4 episodes of the show. I kind of got bored of it, wasn't my taste, but other people loved it, and clearly it had a severe impact and consequences. Let's continue. Well, actually, before we continue on, I want to talk about this real quick because it's interesting how, and if you caught my previous live stream where we discussed Tony Gilroy versus Dave Filoni, and how within Disney Lucasfilm there was a bit of a division going on where various employees within Lucasfilm were upset with Tony Gilroy due to the fact that audiences and fans were using Andor as a example of the failures of Ahsoka, season 3 and 4, The Mandalorian, that show with Jude Law. I don't even know what it was called, Skeleton Key. You had The Acolyte. So what was going on at Disney Lucasfilm was the fact that people loved Andor. Critics, fans, it, in many ways kind of revitalized a little bit of some of that love for Star Wars that had been, more or less destroyed. So now we're seeing the same situation playing out in the MCU with Beau DeMayo. The difference is Beau DeMayo is not Tony Gilroy, who was essentially best friends with Kathleen Kennedy and was essentially protected by the other executives and creators within Disney Lucasfilm who were very anti-Tony Gilroy, mainly because he was telling Star Wars as fans wanted it to be seen and experienced. You got a little bit of that with he created he directed the first Iron Man film. I apologize that I cannot remember his name at the moment. But, The Mandalorian season 1 and 2, you had such quality, and then that quality was taken out due to political and social machinations within this company. So it's interesting that you're seeing the same thing happen with Beau DeMayo. The difference is that Beau DeMayo does not have the the stardom and star power as other creators in the industry have to be able to be protected from head executives such as Kevin Feige, or you could say Dave Filoni over at Disney Lucasfilm, just for a comparing and contrasting of this situation. He continues, one of the many final straws for me was Kevin and the studio leadership not attending the premiere to thank or show support for the cast and crew who busted their ass working 7 days a week for 3 years to make the show what it was. Also, the studio declining to do a wrap party to celebrate the show's success in May. Who paid $7,000 out of his one pocket for the wrap party for the crew? That would be me. So there you have another example of Marvel leadership not supporting their own creation due to the quality of this show and the success. And the irony of it all is because it just made people want better content from Marvel, which is a little weird. I mean, everyone can, most people universally agree that, Marvel Studios has pretty much lost its sauce post Infinity War. And what's even more ironic about this situation with Beau DeMayo is I believe he's either, I think he's gay or bisexual. So this is a black man of that demographic who is being punished for making a good product. One of those rules: never outshine the master. And in this case, never outshine the white man who signs your paycheck. And in many ways, that's what Beau DeMayo did. And this is what's kind of ironic about Marvel. And if you caught my last live stream, I talked about how, Marvel is standing by their, diversity, equity, inclusion, and all that nonsense. But at the exact same time, they fire gay black men for making quality content that pales in comparison to their recent content, and you deny women the ability to direct their own action sequences in films you purposely hire them for because they're women. So, this is something that people need to kind of be self-aware of, is that Disney and Marvel and Lucasfilm, they really don't care about diversity, equity, inclusion. It's all bullshit. It is a studio that is run with nepotism and insecurity and bad ideas. And that's pretty much what you've been getting. And so you have people like Beau DeMayo, who was a good soldier. And the price of being a good soldier is you tend to either get shot in the back or put in a suicide mission. And seems like they did both to him. Now, like in my personal opinion, I'm under the impression that they were using the fact that he also ran an OnlyFans account as more of a justification, as an excuse to fire him due to the quality that he was producing with the X-Men animated TV show. The last thing Kevin Feige needs is a gay black man making better Marvel content than him. Like, hey, you gotta love their DEI program. It sure definitely knows how to steal from the best, right? So let's continue here. Another fun fact about Marvel Studios and Kevin's Parliament. Parliament. Example, the lead producer on Avengers Infinity War and Endgame had her assistant working overtime reading comics that she was too busy to read. Same when they started working on Nomad, which ultimately fell apart because they couldn't crack it right. Well, yeah, if you haven't researched the character and that arc, you're gonna be hard-pressed to crack it. Many times we had story issue come up in script or script editorial in X-Men 97, and I was able to quickly pull a solve out of my ass using my knowledge of the comics, had me thanking God I'd done my homework. So this is a very interesting situation here. Now, if you're aware, currently, they're shooting Avengers Doomsday. They haven't even finished the script. You've had the original actress who played Mystique. They asked her, have you finished your scenes? What's going on? And she's like, I don't know. They haven't even finished writing the script, so I don't even know if I'm going to be going back in to do any more scenes. And then recently you had the guy who played Nightcrawler, the original Nightcrawler, and he was like, I don't even know who I'm acting with. They have me in a green room, and I'm just talking to the wall and various people and fake names. So I'm under the impression that they don't know what to do with the story because they haven't read the comics. So they don't understand how to crack the issue that they're dealing with. And I think for many people who have been watching post Endgame, you can now notice, wait a minute, did they not read the comics? I mean, we've seen that with the Sony films. I mean, look at Madame Web. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's kind of becoming very obvious that they're not really understanding their own source material because they haven't read it. So now you're dealing with a situation where they're shooting $100 million film with a script that isn't even completed because they don't even know the Superman film. I felt like I was watching Superman the animated show. I felt like at times I was watching Justice League the animated show. It felt like the comics that I have read and collected of some Superman that I have. So when I'm bringing that up, I'm bringing up a film that actually understands its source material well enough that when you get into the film, everything feels so established and so organic. You're not getting that anymore with Marvel's content. Nothing feels organic, even when you have decades of source material to pull from, and even actual original writers and creators. I mean, we know where it's pretty apparent about the way Marvel Studios and Disney has treated the creator of Deadpool and various other comic book writers who created many of these characters. They screw over those writers, those creators. They don't get any love. They don't get any support. They don't get to counsel Marvel Studios on how to bring these characters into life and make them feel very comic book accurate. I'm just observing what I have seen as someone who's been watching the films and collecting the comics. So when Beau DeMayo brings this to attention, I'm not surprised because you can see it in the quality of what they produce. And he continues, also, remember how the Secret Invasion creators bragged about not reading the comics? Well, this is how Marvel does it. The assistant to the lead producer actually does all the reading of the comics and creates a development doc that covers the comics that includes pitches for which villains or characters to pull from and run. This is done so the actual producer, who's collecting quite a paycheck, doesn't have to actually read the IP they are making movies from, and then the producer and Kevin read and give notes on a development doc to narrow down ideas to create a final doc. Then, per what we've heard and I've seen, the writers are told not to read the comics, but instead to read and develop a pitching using the development doc that outlines the parameters of the story they can tell. I don't know about you. It's like a horrible creative process. And you're wondering why you'll have these people brag about not reading the comics, and then when you watch their product, we're like, yeah, we can tell you didn't read the comics. So this is crazy if you really think about it. This is a multi-billion-dollar studio that doesn't even read its own source material. And their movies are losing money. They're bleeding money. Anyone who tells you that, oh, well, it's, Fantastic Four, it broke even, and that's not success. Breaking even on $100 million film is not success. Even if it makes back a third of what it produced in terms of production, marketing, all that fun jazz, that's still not good. I didn't watch Fantastic Four. I didn't really have any interest. It just didn't capture me. But when I watched the trailer for Superman, that captured me. That made me want to go see it. And then when I went and saw it, I'm crying half of the film because it was really good. And I'll be coming out with my review later on. But the point that I'm making is that, like, when you see the Fantastic Four trailer, and this is for me personally, I wasn't drawn to the film. It didn't make me want to see the film. And then I've seen clips and, the post-credit and all that, and I'm like, okay. You haven't even finished the script for for Doomsday because you haven't even gotten your development doc put together. You don't even have a final doc. So you don't even know what to do. And now we know why the film isn't even completed. They're not going to meet the release date. They're not going to. The film's going to get pushed back. It's going to get delayed. I'm just telling you right now. They're going to wait till the last second to delay this film. I'm telling you. And so when you hear this, that the assistant to the lead producer does the comic reading, makes a development doc cover that has pitches for villains and characters, and then they develop a pitch using the development doc that outlines the parameters of the story they can tell. So they're and I guarantee you that's probably what's happening right now with Avengers Doomsday. Their little development doc had ideas that don't even make sense or flow because they were just grabbing them from various aspects and different arcs from the comics without understanding the continuum of it. I mean, you see this in their quality. You can tell. I mean, Multiverse of Madness. I mean, what was that all about? Vision and Wanda. Like, you had Secret Wars. I mean, Secret Invasion. Like, what was that? And then on top of that, you have no quality in your stories, and then your CGI, your special effects, all of that is lacking in any real quality as well. So you now have a failed product from a creative standpoint and from a production standpoint, with hundreds of millions of dollars invested into it. You throw that shit out there for the audience, and then you're surprised they're not receptive to it. Well, maybe it's because they've kind of figured out your method sucks. And now we're well aware of how you do your methodology and why the quality is terrible. I'm sure they do the exact same thing over at Lucasfilm. Maybe, maybe not. I wouldn't be surprised if it's similar to this. But this just shows you why, as of now, you're not going to get any real organic quality and content from Marvel Studios. And I said this in my Tony Gilroy versus Dave Filoni, that just because you have the qualifications doesn't mean you can produce the quality. And we're seeing that. Sure, Kevin Feige has the qualifications, quote unquote, but where's the quality where's the quality? It's not there anymore. You saw what he said about Secret Invasion. You had the creators bragging that they didn't read the comics. Okay. So you have the qualifications and you brag about your qualifications, but you don't even have the quality to brag about said qualifications. That's the problem that we also have out here. We have people who brag about their status, but the quality that gave them that status is shit. And I mean, that classic saying, the customer is always right. Why is it when in the gaming industry, when they finally listen to the players, the game gets better, the player count rises, the money starts flowing? Look at what's going on with Battlefield 6. They're giving the fan base and video game players what they want: a quality military game that skips all the bullshit that Call of Duty is now riddled with. It lacks quality, but it's full of content. It has all these people who have the qualifications, but they lack the quality to make it anything good. And that's just an example of what you're seeing when you listen to the customer. When you actually listen to the customer, your product gets better. Marvel doesn't want to listen to the fan base. They don't want to listen to the customer. Beau DeMayo, not only was he a writer, but he was also a customer. He knew what the customer wanted. And when you don't give them what they want, which is, I don't know, a quality story that is accurate to the creators and the universe that they inhabit, if you don't give the customer that, you're not going to make any money. I know that I'm saying something I think makes a little bit of sense. I ain't no expert. I'm just your humble Rōnin. But in closing, I don't know how Marvel can move forward with this type of creative process. The quality is just going to keep getting worse no matter how much money they put into it. They can't even put in that much money anymore. They've bled so much money in all of their previous films, they can't add anything else. So they have to now cut back. So you cut back in the production of your content, but you don't improve the quality of the content. I mean, like I said in my when I talked about the Marvel Diversity Program last month, if Doomsday fails financially and creatively, they're cooked. They're fucked. And there will be no way to do Secret Wars. If they fuck up Doomsday, this is it. This is their make it or break it moment. I know that they're pretending that it isn't, but I'm telling you right now, internally, I bet you they know that Doomsday is their make it or break it. And if they break it, that's it. People will check out completely. And I don't know what that world's going to look like post Doomsday failure. Alrighty. And that concludes the breaking news of showrunner X-Men 97, Beau DeMayo, going off on the MCU. It's going to be interesting to see how Doomsday plays out. Please leave a comment with your thoughts below. Let me know what you think about this situation. Are you excited for season 2 of X-Men 97? If it's even coming out, I'm not sure if it is. What are your thoughts on Doomsday? Some of the recent news about the fact that the script hasn't even been completed. And what are your thoughts on the recent revelations that Beau DeMayo has given us regarding the creative process of Marvel Studios? You guys think that there's any chance in hell they'll make it post Doomsday? Let me know down in the comments section. But until next time, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.